Hey YouTube, what's going on? I'm Rocket and welcome to part 2 of my pen testing fundamentals series, where in this video I'll be showing you how to navigate Linux. So first things first, you're going to want an installation of Kali Linux readily available to use. If you don't have that already, you can install one by checking out the link in the video description below. So by the end of this video, I want you guys to feel a lot more comfortable with the Linux command line. First things first, I'm going to show you how you can prepare your terminal. Let's say you don't like the font size, color, or font. So I'm going to show you how you can change that. Next, I'll be showing you how you can find your way around Linux. More specifically, how you can go about listing, creating, and removing files and directories, yet alone understanding the difference between hard links, soft links, relative, and absolute paths. So once you feel pretty comfortable with those commands for navigating Linux, I'm going to show you some command line hot tips so you can jumpstart your productivity. And last but not least, I'll be showing you how you can master the commands that you already know and further discover new ones. So without further ado, let's get right to it. So first things first, let's go configure our terminal. So you can open up a terminal with this button right here and just go ahead and click on File, go down to Preferences, and here you will see the font and possibly the color theme. I personally like the Kali dark color theme, but if you like something like Kali white instead, you can do that. I'm just going to stick with Kali dark. Apply, and now let's change the font size and style. So this is what I prefer. I prefer the Bitframe Vera Sans Mono font, but if you like the Deja Vu Sans Mono and maybe you like font size of 13, you can go ahead and hit OK, apply, and you'll notice that the font size changed. Now I'm going to show you how you can increase your keyboard repeat rate so you can enter a key and make it repeat super fast like that. So let's go click this Kali button up here and search for keyboard. Click on keyboard, and I have my repeat delay set to 140 and my repeat speed to 100. You can adjust this according to your personal preferences. You're going to want to go ahead and visit this URL right here, which I'll provide in a link in the video description below. Next, you're going to want to go ahead and hit this clone button right here and hit the little clipboard right here. This is going to clone this entire repository of educational content so that you can access it locally on your Kali machine. So I'm going to open up a terminal right here, and then I'm going to enter git clone and then Control-Shift-V to paste the URL that we just copied to our clipboard. Excellent. So now we can enter this command cd to change directory to Pentesting Fundamentals. Control-Shift-C to copy the highlighted text, Control-Shift-V to paste. Excellent. So now we're going to list the contents in this directory with an ls. So go ahead, enter ls, enter, and we can list the contents within this directory. So because this module is all about navigating Linux, we are going to want to repeat what we just did. So copy this, Control-Shift-C, and then we're going to cd to change directory into here, and then Control-Shift-V again. Excellent. So in this video, we're going to be covering all these topics right here, and I'll be going over them one by one. I will also be providing shortcuts in the video description below so you can skip to the parts that interest you the most. Awesome. So let's start with listing files. So again, we've already mastered the cd, copy, paste, entering directories, so we'll just enter this directory right here, and then you can run ls again to list files. This time, however, you might notice that the files here are different colors. So the first file is, at least on Kali Linux, is going to be green. So this means that the file is executable, so you should be able to run it. Next, we have just a regular file like this, and then we have this weird blue syntax, which is, if you look carefully, it's a little lighter blue than some of these other directories right here. So this is a symbolic link, which we'll be covering later in this video. And this here is yet another file. Excellent. So that was pretty straightforward. You can just go ahead and list files with ls. So there is also another way to get more information when listing files on Linux, and that's with the -l flag. So go ahead and try this. And you'll notice there's a lot more information right here. So you'll see some RWXs, which are actually permission bits, which we'll cover in a future video. And you have a user and a group, and also a timestamp. We'll worry more about these in a future video, but for now, this is just how you can list more contents in a file. So Next, we're going to go back up a directory, and the way to do that in Linux is by running the cd dot dot. So dot dot brings you back up a directory. Cd will again change you back to that directory. So we'll do that, and we'll go up another directory. In this case, we're going to want to go to this directory right here, listing files with extensions. So we'll copy that with Control-Shift-C, cd, Control-Shift-V to paste, and then we'll just do an ls-l again. And here we're going to notice we have a lot more files than we did in the previous directory. What I want to show you guys is the concept of Linux wildcards. So a wildcard allows you to specify everything that comes after some text that you originally specified. Now what does that mean? Well, let's show an example. So we can just say ls-l, and we notice there's a pattern. There's file1.bin, file1.txt, file2.bin, file2.txt, file3.bin, and so on. So what if we wanted to list all files that only ended in .txt? So we can specify ls-l wildcard, which means everything, up until we see a .txt. And this kind of acts like a filter for us. So if we were looking for a hidden needle in a haystack, we'd be able to reduce our search space to find that in the .txt files, for example. Alternatively, we could also do the same thing for a .bin. We'll only get the .bin files. And of course, if you just specify the star, you're just going to get everything, just as you were to run the ls-l. Simple enough. Cool. So let's move on. Next, I'm going to show you how to list hidden files. So let's show how we can do that. So here, I type ls, and we get a file that says you will never find the secret. Well, if we try an ls-la, the A flag will enumerate for hidden files. So a hidden file on Linux is one that starts with a period. In this case, if you just type ls-l, you don't see it. But if you type ls-la, because there's the A flag, you'll find the secret. You could also just run ls-a. Same thing. As long as there's an A here, you will find all hidden files. So keep that in mind, especially if this is handy, especially if you're trying to do a thorough enumeration on a machine. Always use the -a flag when you list, because there might be some hidden file that you might need to find. So now that we know how to list files and directories, let's see how we can dump the content of them. So let's go to the dumping files module right here. And listing the files and directories, we see some content right here. So let's see what happens if we dump the readme.txt. You can dump files to your terminal by using the cat command. So let's do that. And it says, congratulations, you just dumped this file. So now we know how to dump content to your terminal. But what the cat command actually does is it takes your files and it appends them to each other. So if I were to take, say, cat readme.txt followed by file1.txt followed by file2, I'm going to be dumping the output of readme.txt, file1.txt, and file2.txt. And it will all come out in the same output. So you can verify that by dumping each file individually. Excellent. So now we figured out how to dump file contents. So now we're going to be copying some files. So let's go ahead and enter the copying files directory and list what's there. So here we have file1.txt. We can again dump it with the cat command, file1.txt, and it says copy me. So on Linux, you can copy files with the cp command. So we can just run cp file1.txt. So it's going to be our source, and our destination is going to be file2.txt. Hit enter, do an ls, and it looks like our file has been duplicated. So let's see if the contents are also the same. So let's cat file2.txt, and it happens to be the same. Copy me. Excellent. So now we know how to copy files. Let's go back up a directory and run the ls command again to list. And now we're going to copy a directory, which is slightly different from copying a file. So let's enter there, do an else again. And here we have a directory that says copy me. If we want, we can list the contents of this directory by running ls copy me, and it also has a file in it. So In order to copy this, we'll run the cp-r for recurse. Recurse means you're going to go through every file and directory in this current directory, and you're going to copy it. So we're going to copy the copy me directory, and we'll call it copy me2. So doing an ls, we now see a copy me2 directory, and we can list the contents in it by running ls copy me2. And it's the same as the original copy me. You can play around this on your machine. So let's go back up a directory, list the contents, and now we're going to learn how to create directories. So let's enter here, do a ls. We don't see anything here because in fact we're going to go create a directory ourselves. So we're going to call it the command we're going to run to create a directory is the mkdir. So mkdir. We'll just call this dir. Make a directory called dir. We go ls, and suddenly we have our dir directory. Now let's say you want to go and create nested directories. Like let's say you want to create a directory like dir2 dir, and we'll call it sub dir1 followed by sub dir2. So you can actually do that in one single command, and we can do that with the mkdir-p command. So let's do this. Do an ls, and it looks like we have dir2. So now, because we already know how to navigate directories, we can go cd dir2, do an ls, and we have subdir1. We can go cd subdir1, do an ls, and we have subdir2. So cd subdir2 ls, and we suddenly have nothing right here. Cool. So let's go back up, and this is a new trick. We're gonna go back up multiple directories in one command right here. We're gonna go all the way back up to this navigating Linux directory. So we've already learned that you can use the ... to indicate that you're going up one single path. So cd ... will bring us back up to subdirectory 1, do a slash, and then another ... that will bring us back up to dir2, do another slash, and another slash should bring us back to O2 navigating Linux. So let's do that. // enter, and there we are. So let's do an ls again. And now we are going to learn how to delete directories. So let's do that right now. So let's go to here, do an ls, and here it says delete me. So if I just try to run the rm delete me, rm will complain that it cannot remove delete me because it's a directory. So in order to do this, you have to specify, again, just like the cp command, the -r flag. So recursively remove. So let's do that. Do an ls-a, and delete me is not there anymore. I put these ignore me's here, just ignore them. So going back up, do an ls, and here we're going to learn how to delete files. So here we have a bunch of files. We have deleteme.txt and a whole bunch of other files. So this looks pretty messy. We're eventually going to delete all these files, but for now we're just going to delete this one right here. So let's run the rm deleteme.txt, do an ls, and it's gone. Similarly, we could also run the rm file10.txt and delete that as well, and it's gone. But this is pretty tedious. So what if you want to purge all these? Well, for one, you could just go back up a directory like cd ... and then rmf, deleting directories right here. So the -r means recurse, f is force. You could even just go rm-r, deleting directories, but we're going to do it differently because we want to go and delete files. So let's go back to the deleting files, list the content, and this time we're just going to do an rm star. You could even go rm star.txt just to specify wildcards to delete all these files right here. So let's do that. And they're all gone. Excellent. So let's go back up a directory. And now that we know how to create and delete files, how about we go ahead and learn how to move them and rename them. Let's go to module 10. Moving files and directories, list the contents, and here we have something that says moveme.txt. Let's dump the contents just to make sure we know what's in here. There's nothing there. That's fine. We just need to move this file. So let's move this move me, and we'll just call it renamed.txt. So now if we do ls, notice that we took the file name and the destination name. So we renamed moveme.txt to rename.txt, which is right here. We can also do the same thing with directories. So I'm just going to create a directory here called dir. And if we can rename this directory to something like dir2. Do an else again. So we rename dir to dir2. Very simple. Now what happens if you try to move dir2 to dir2? It's not going to work because it's going to try to move dir2 to a subdirectory of itself. So this is interesting. What if we did something like move renamed.txt to dir2? This actually doesn't rename the rename.txt to dir2. It actually moves this file into the directory. So whenever the destination name is a directory, you're actually moving the source into the directory. So do an ls, and rename is gone. But if we run an ls dir2, we can find that our rename.txt file has moved to dir2. All right, so let's go back up a directory. And now let's learn how to write to files. So let's go into the writing to files module, do an ls to list what's there. Here we have two files. We have write.me and append.me. So let's see what's in write.me. So let's cat write.me.txt to dump the contents, and it says overwrite me. So let's go ahead and do that. So in Linux, there's the echo command, and echo will take whatever you put in here. So let's just say some text, and we'll write this to your standard output and display it in your terminal. However, interestingly enough, we can redirect output from commands into other files with this greater than operator right here. So we'll echo some text to write.me.txt. Let's do that. So we just overwrote write.me.txt with some text. So let's cat write.me.txt, and it looks like the contents have changed to some text. Simple enough. But that's always not ideal. Sometimes you want to just go ahead and append some text to a file rather than just clobbering it like we did right here. So this time we'll try writing to the append.me file, but before we write to it, we should check what the contents are. So let's go cat append.me.txt, and it says append to me. So how about we'll do echo some appended text, and instead of using this operator right here, we're going to use this operator right here. And this is going to append the output from this echo command to the append.me.txt file. So let's go ahead and do that. Hit enter and cat append.me.txt. And we'll notice that we now have some appended text to this file without clobbering the original contents. Excellent. Alternatively, you could also do it this way. So we can just say cat maybe write.me.txt, and we'll dump the write.me.txt. We'll append this to append.me, and if we cat append.me.txt, we'll notice that we also appended some text. Very simple. All right, let's go back up. Now we're going to cover paths. So go into paths, and here I'm going to be discussing the difference between absolute and relative paths. And not only that, but how we can go ahead and execute some commands. So you might notice that we have a green file right here, and this means that it's executable. So to execute this file right here, you need to put a ./runme.sh. The ./ is very important, and this indicates a relative path to the runme.sh script. Go ahead and hit enter, and it executes uranme. So what if we were to just run runme.sh like this? It doesn't work. It gives you bash runme command not found. And the reason why the command is not found is because when you just run a script like this, your shell right here is going to look for your path environment variable. Sorry, it's going to look in the directory of your path environment variable and look for the runme.sh command. In this case, we don't have the runme.sh in our environment variable, so it's not going to work. So we can see what our path is by doing echo and then $path. So because runme.sh is not in user local bin or user bin or any of these, we get a command not found, which is why we need to specify this / right here. However, another interesting way to run this is we could take the whole path right here, like that, copy that, Control-Shift-C, Control-Shift-V to paste, then go runme.sh. And that will actually work. And the reason why that works is this is an absolute path. An absolute path means you're specifying the entire path to this file, just irrelevant of where your current working directory is. And you can figure out what your current working directory is by running the pwd command. So you can just copy that right here. And interestingly enough, when we run the pwd command, we'll notice that instead of this squiggly line, we have /home/cali. So the squiggly line is a special character in Bash or your Linux shell that indicate that is pretty much an alias for /home your current user. So this here is user friendly, but when you're, let's say, configuring a program, you want to prefer being very explicit with absolute paths. Same thing with relative paths. A relative path is a path relative to your current working directory. So in this case, doing the /runme.sh is a relative path. But relative paths are human friendly, but they're not so friendly to when you, let's say, go and configure a application. When you configure an application, prefer to use absolute paths. When you're just a human running commands, you might want to prefer a relative path like this. So now we're going to go cover Symlinks. Let's enter the Symlinks directory, and we'll notice that there are two kinds of Symlinks. There are hard and soft Symlinks. I'm going to go over both. So let's see what a soft Symlink is first. So cd softlinks, do an ls-l, and here we have a file1.txt. So let's go and create a soft link to file1.txt. You can do this with the ln-s flag, provide file1.txt as the source, and the destination is going to be soft link to an ls-l, and it looks like soft link points to file1.txt. And this is pretty important actually, because a soft link, or just any symbolic link, is pretty much just a pointer to some other file on your system. So if we dump the contents of file1.txt, we'll notice it says hello. Similarly, if we dump the contents of softlink, it will also say hello, because softlink just points to file1.txt. Simple enough. Similarly, you can also write to softlink, and that will change the contents of file1.txt. So if we say echo, you changed me to softlink, and then if we dump file1.txt, we'll notice that says you changed me. Cool. So now what happens if we go ahead and delete what softlink is pointing to? So let's delete file1.txt and do an ls-l. We'll notice that the softlink now became red, and that's because it's now pointing to something that does not exist. So if we try dumping softlink, our console gives us no such file or directory. So removing the destination to what the softlink pointed to breaks the link. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. Cool. So now let's go back up a directory and cover hard links. So go to hard links, do an ls. Let's actually delete this here as well. Do an ls-l. So here I have file1.txt. Let's go ahead and dump the contents. Cat file1.txt, and it says hello. So to create a hard link, you provide the ln command, and you say file1.txt, which is the source, and the destination is hard link. Do an ls-l, and now we have the hard link. So let's dump the hard link, and it says hello. So just like soft links, you can go ahead and modify the content of the hard link. So let's just say echo, you changed me to hardlink.txt, And if we cat file1.txt, it should say you changed me. Simple enough. Also, we could echo you changed me back to file1.txt, and if we dump the hard link, it will say you changed me back because they're linked together. Now, what happens if we go ahead and remove file1.txt? Will that break what hard link is pointing to? So let's go ahead and rm file1.txt. Do an ls-l, and it looks like hard link still looks like a regular file. So let's cat hard link. And it says you changed me back. So this is the main difference between soft and hard links. Deleting the source to the file that is pointed to in a soft link will invalidate the soft link, whereas deleting the file that is pointed to in a hard link does not necessarily remove the hard link. So that's the main difference. All right, moving forward. Let's now that we're comfortable with some commands, let's see how we can be a bit more productive with them. So let's go to command line hot tips. Ooh, I did not. Okay. And run the ls-l command. So here, these are just reminders for myself. So let's start with tab auto completion. This is the most important one. And if you're observing in this video, you might have seen me start typing some text right here, and then it suddenly just auto completed magically. So the way to do that is if we just go run a command, let's say ls, and then let's say I want to run ls clearing your screen. I don't have to type ls clearing your screen. That's just not productive. Instead, you can just go ls c, hit tab, and bash will autocomplete what you might want to run the ls command against. So in this case, both clearing your screen and cursor moving start with C. So now if I type L, because there are no other files or directories here that specify L coming after C, it will automatically autocomplete to clearing your screen. So that's pretty productive. And this works for any command. So now we know now we understand the tab auto completion trick. I'm going to be using that throughout the rest of this video. So the next trick I want to show you is history. So you can check your history by running the history command. You can see all the commands that we ran in this video. Pretty cool. And if you want to go up a command, so our previous command was history. So if you hit up, well, I just ran ls right here, so hitting up once goes ls, hitting it again goes to history, and if we hit up again, it will say ls clearing your screen. Hit up again, it will say ls, and if we do it one more time, it will say specify ls-l. If we hit the down arrow key, we'll go back down to ls, and if we hit down again one more time, we'll say ls clearing your screen. Cool. So you can scroll up and back within history with the up and down arrow keys like that. So let's say you remember some of a command that you ran, but you don't remember the whole thing. So maybe I want to remember an echo command where I said you changed me. Maybe I want to remember this command right here. So you can hit Control R and then start typing echo. And the first echo command was you changed me back, which happens to be this one right here. And this will recursively go back in your history and look for similar commands as you start typing them, which is super convenient, especially if you have, let's say, some really long command and that you ran a few commands ago and you don't want to keep pressing up to go back in your history to find it. Super productive. So Control C. And next I want to show you how to move your cursor around. So if you, let's say, write a command, maybe echo you change me back, hit the right arrow key to accept this command, we can move the cursor left and right by hitting Control right and Control left to move the cursor through here pretty fast. Good tip to know. This works in the Kali Linux terminal. It will not work in every other Linux terminal. So if you're not on Kali Linux, this might not work for you. Next, you can move the cursor to the beginning by hitting the home button, or you can move it to the end by hitting the end button. Alternatively, you can also go ahead and delete words, like word by word, with Control W. So Control W, delete this, Control W, delete this, then Control W to delete this. Well, one word, so we'll delete the me, Control W, and so on and so forth. So that can be pretty useful as well. Last but not least, we like to stay organized, so you can hit Control L to clear your screen. Excellent. So now that we've understand those command line tips, those should get you up and running pretty quickly on the command line. Let's go back up a directory, ls, and last but not least, let's see how we can master and discover commands. So do an ls, and the first thing that we want to search for is the man pages. So a man page is actually the Linux manual to commands that already exist on your system. So we've been using the ls command quite a bit. So let's see how we can use that better maybe. So let's go man ls. And now we're faced with some sort of like weird terminal thing right here. So we can go search for content in here if we want to. Let's say we want to list everything, which with the -a flag, which you already know, you can hit the slash and then -a, and it will highlight the -a and -all right here. You can toggle through every highlighted search by hitting the N key and then Shift N to go back up. Alternatively, you can just use the up and down arrow keys to move up or down. Cool. But let's say we want to list in reverse order. So let's search for reverse. So we can search for reverse order while sorting. So let's try that out. So let's do ls-ar. And let's try an ls-la. And it looks like our search, we've listed the files in a different order this way. Cool, so we've learned a new trick right there. And you can use the man command on, sorry, you can read the man page for any existing Linux command that works. So you could even go man cp if you wanted to, and you could look up more options for how to copy something. Cool. So now let's say you have a task on Linux that you want to do, but you don't quite know what the command is for it. So that's where the apropos command comes into play. So you can run, let's say you want to go find a command that will search for content. So if we say something like apropos search, we'll get some commands like lsearch, linear search of an array, probably not too interesting. Get the find command, which I'll be covering in a future video, and maybe binwalk for a tool for searching binary images for embedded files and executable code, so on and so forth. So that's another command you might be able to use. Though my favorite trick is still just go ahead and ask Google. Ask Google what your problem is, and you'll probably find some Stack Overflow post that will point you in the direction to a command that you might want to use. And then if you want to learn more about it, you can just check out that command's man page. Anyways, that's going to be a wrap up for this video, and in the next episode, I'll be covering how you can go and edit text in Linux. See you there.